morning everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Andrea Huck. So today is day 2 of our Daily Creative Challenge. It's the first actual day of a challenge. Yesterday was just a welcome day, and I'm so happy to see you all. Welcome to everyone in the chat. We've got Emmanuel, Niklas, Nyasha, Brian, Justin, Brian, Mandy, Yuri. We've got lots of you guys today. Welcome everyone. Brian says he's super pumped. Me too, I'm excited. First day of a new challenge. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm gonna head on over to behance.net/challenge/XD, and this is of course where you can find everything Daily Creative Challenge related. So this challenge is going from December 2nd through next Friday, December 13th. And of course, if you're not already registered, go ahead and register with this big blue button right here, and you will get notified each day at 8 a.m. in your Creative Cloud drop-down notifications right there. And if you don't know how it already works, each day you'll receive a challenge, and we'll be live every day at 11:30 Pacific time right here on Behance Live. Be sure to join the community chat on Discord. We've got about 28,000 of you guys already on there chatting away, sharing your work. It's been really awesome to see you guys grow as designers throughout the last few months that I've been, doing some hosting on here. So love to see that. Lastly, be sure to share your work both on Discord and on Behance when you're done with it, to get feedback from myself and all of the other mentors. So that is how it works. Let's go ahead and see what the first new challenge is. So today, December 3rd, we're going to be working on components. So I want you guys to design a web experience for building custom perfumes and colognes. I actually don't wear a lot of perfume, but I saw this somewhere, like building your own perfume, and I just thought that would be a fun thing to do for today. So we're going to leverage the power of components to reuse design elements and allow users to choose scents with tap triggers. So if you would like, I always provide you guys with a starter file that's on Dropbox, and you can download that right up here, direct download, and that will look something like this, without the design already started, of course. That is my design. And if you do want to rewatch any of these streams, if you miss something, totally fine. You can rewatch them at the watch video button right there. And then at the bottom, we've got some more links, just some more XD info. So if you want to be notified about any of the future XD challenges, you can subscribe right there. If you want to get XD, you can download it here for free. The starter plan, it's free until April, at which point the starter plan for sharing will not be free. So get it while you can and test out the sharing. Let's go ahead and hop on over to Discord. You can join by clicking that link right here. Everyone's been excited to see what the new challenges are. So as always, if you want to submit any of your work for feedback, you can use any of these challenges any of these channels over here. So just make sure you're putting it in the right channel. So like current challenge, if you're still working on a previous challenge, you can put it in the past one. Anything else design related can go here. And if you just want your portfolio reviewed, it can go here. And then any general announcements about the channel, about going live, the schedule is up here. These are the read-only channels, so you can just check up there if there's anything you think you might be missing. So that's Discord in a nutshell. Let's go ahead and jump right into the starter file. So like I mentioned, today is day 1. Yesterday was just a welcome day, and today what we're going to be doing is designing a web experience for building custom perfumes and colognes, and we're going to be focusing on components. So if you haven't used components before, we have had this panel over here where you can add components after you've already made them, and I'll show you how to do that, but they really are useful for if you have a ton of different artboards and you're reusing a lot of the same elements. It's super easy to come over here, just drag and drop, and then any instance of that same component, if you edit the master component, it will update all of the rest of your components. So super, super handy, especially if you're working with a client who wants a bunch of changes all the time, and you don't want to have to update like the same color blue to all purples. So that's been super helpful for me. We also have the component area over here where you can set different component states. So like pressed, hover, default, and I'll show you a bit about that today as well. So components I feel like are one of my favorite things about XD, so I'm excited to dive in today. Below that we've got some inspo, some perfume apps, and just concepts that are out there that I thought would help you just spark some ideas. So this first one is the Alchemist Atelier, and I haven't seen a graph like this before showing data in sort of like the circular way with these little spouts coming out. Thought this was interesting. So you can try something like this if you want. We're really focusing on like the different scents that are in a perfume, allowing users to choose. So for instance, for this one, if you say you've got like bergamot is the ingredient, and you'll see like, oh, it has notes of citrus and woodiness and floral tones. So that I thought was kind of neat. You can try something like that. Or this app called Parfumo. Again, a very unique type of graphs they're using. I think this is awesome. So if you want to do it by like occasion, if you're going out for the night, the scent might be different than if you're like going to work. Sport, I feel like you would not use a perfume, but okay. Interesting that they included that. Or like by season, you might want to smell differently. This one I included because you might want to show the actual image of whatever the scent is. So like peach, neroli, bergamot. You can, grab some stock images off of Adobe Stock if you'd like. And then this last one, Scentbird. This one isn't too exciting, but if you want to show like the different bottle sizes, that would be interesting too. Like 50 milliliters versus 10 milliliters or something. Below that, we've got all of the resources that I like to use and share with you guys. So some of my favorite places to find icons, photos, and you can just search through all of those links if you want to find something in particular. And of course, do not forget to share on Discord and Behance when you're done. And on Behance, be sure to use that keyword XD Daily Challenge so we can find you and give you feedback. So I am going to start with just a background, a little bit rounded here. I'm just going with desktop size, and you can do mobile if you want. Probably wouldn't try smartwatch. That might be a little difficult to do on a smartwatch. Tablet is fine too. I usually like to try to do something that's different than what the rest of my items in my portfolio are. So for instance, I have a lot of mobile apps in my portfolio, so I'm trying to switch it up more, do more web apps instead, and like smartwatch apps. So below here, I've just got some of my assets. I'm just going to start adding these guys in. Let's bring that in a bit. So this is just, an image from Adobe Stock. They have a lot of great perfumes. Let's see, I just searched perfume. It was one of the first ones, so let's see, like this one, chose this one. Just add a little gradient background if you want to try something like that. And then on the right side here, I'm going to add like customize, and I'll make it. You guys are always curious about what fonts I use. So this one is escrow banner. Let's bring that over. And then I'll add a little subheader, and I'll say like step 2, choose your scents. So on this page, all I want to focus on is showing a whole list of scents, and then those are going to be my components. And as you can see, I have a few chosen down here, some of the assets that I downloaded from Adobe Stock. Okay, and this font is AU Next with AAUX. And then on the left side over here, I just want to show like the steps, each of the steps that you might go through. So let's say like step 1 is choosing the bottle. Choose your bottle. So maybe you get to choose like this sort of spiky color or shape, or whatever size you want. Let's make this a little smaller. So like choose your bottle, and then the next one we are on is choose your scents. And because this is the step we're on, I'm gonna make this these bold, so we know that it's selected. And then step 3 might be like checkout or something. Review and checkout. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Select those, make them a little bit smaller, and just group all of those. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Top right over here, I'm just gonna add like the account and access to the cart. We need that. So let's add, this will be the cart that tells us how many items we have. And then we'll just say something like account. Make that pretty small because I don't want this to be the main focus. I want the scents to be the main focus. And then I'll grab this little menu icon over here. These icons I grabbed from Feather Icons, I believe it was called. All free to download. Let's see. Below this, oh, I need a back arrow in case we want to go back to step 1. So let's add that in up here. And I'm just trying to align everything along this line right here. And these are just kind of for like decoration. I might add another one right here. Sometimes I just add little lines like that to kind of fill up the negative space. Okay, so below this, I'm going to start adding some components. So let's zoom in here. These are all of our scents. I grabbed these. I'll show you the specific one that I used. So I grabbed this one, and you'll notice that they're actually a little bit of a different color. I did go ahead and change them. So this is a trick. Sometimes if I want the color of a stock photo to be just like a little bit closer to whatever I'm matching in the photo, in a separate photo, I'll just take it into Photoshop and like add a color layer over it. So you'll notice that they're slightly different color. Just added a pink color. Just used the eyedropper to see like what color pink I wanted from this, and then brought it into Photoshop and did it that way. So that's a little trick I can share with you guys. Okay, so let's kind of space these out a bit. I don't want these to be too big because I maybe want to show a whole lot of them. Let's lock this. Lock this layer. We'll bring these down to the second row, and I just want to space these out a bit more. And then we'll add the title of whatever the scent is below each of them, and then we'll make them components. So this first one I think was lavender. Let's go back into our assets panel. Okay, so let's just say lavender. Bring this underneath, and I'm gonna center align this and make it a bit smaller, and then let's group these together. And it's super easy. All we do is go over to Components panel over here. I already have some already selected or already created, but we just press the plus icon and we can name this lavender. And anytime we want to reuse that, we just copy it, paste it anywhere else. And then if we change the first instance, so let's like rename this rose or something, you'll see any other instance will be updated as well. But the trick with that is that you just need to make sure you have selected the master component. So for instance, over here, you'll see it's a little bit grayed out, but you can still see it. It says component master, and we're in the default state. And then when I click on this one that I just copied and pasted, this one is now called component instance. So you'll see the difference is just if I update this one, it will not update the master. But if I update the master, it will update any other ones that I have anywhere else on my artboards. So that's a super great trick. You can also, so for instance, if I want to do states, so let's pretend like I want to have this selected. Right now it's not selected, so this would be the default state. I'll just press plus, new state, and you can name it pressed or whatever you want to call it. And then make sure you're on pressed, that is selected, and then we can paste in this little check mark. We'll just like put it to the right there. And so now when I go back to default state and pressed, I don't have to do a bunch of different artboards for each individual one. It is all in the same component. So that's really cool. And same thing, if we copy and paste this into our other instances of the component, it will still update the rest of them. I could even go a step further and add a hover state. So I'll just call it hover state. Under this one, I would remove this, and maybe I'll make the actual lavender photo like 50% or so. So it looks like I'm hovering over it. So default state, when we hover over it, it looks like that, and then pressed looks like that. So like, let me preview this just to show you the hover real quick. So boom, when we hover over it, it works perfectly. So that is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and make the rest of our components here. I'm gonna call this, I think this would be rose. I don't remember like what all of these were. Well, I don't know what this is. I'll just say bergamot. I don't know what that is, but a lot of people seem to be using it in the other perfume apps that I saw. Okay, so this is definitely rose. Then this one can't be rose. I'll just call this tulip or something. I'm not a pro at perfumes. Okay, this one will just pretend like it's citrus, and this one will pretend like it's, what's another scent? Just something like florally, like neroli, I think is a scent. I don't remember. Okay, so now we can go ahead and make these each components. So let's just group them first, and then press the plus button to make it a component. We'll call this rose. Again, group these two. Make it a component, call it bergamot. Group these two. Make it a component, call it tulip. Oh man, I can't type today. Tulip. These two will group, and again, make it a component, call it citrus. And this last one here, call it neroli. Okay. I'm just gonna copy and paste like these two, just so we're looking even. And again, same thing with this one. If I want to make another state, I could add a new state. We'll call this pressed. And I could just copy this check mark over, paste it in there. And same if I want to add a hover state. We'll just call it hover state. You can't rename the default state as of right now that I know of, because like when I try to double click on it, you can't. The other ones you can, but I think they're working on that. Not a big deal though. So hover state, I would probably just remove that, make this 50%, and I'll keep it on default. So you could do that with the rest of these. So let's say we have like 50 different scents or something. We probably want to add like a search box and just let people scroll through all of these. So I'm gonna unlock. Actually, no, I'll keep this locked. And what I'm gonna do is select all of these, and we can just make a repeat grid to make it look like there's a lot of these different scents. And again, if you wanted to go in and rename all of these, add new pictures, you could. And I want this to scroll. We want to be able to scroll through all these scents and choose different ones. So I'll let you preview what it would look like now before adjusting anything. So if we start scrolling, it doesn't look too great because there's things moving. So the trick that we need to do is we need to go over into prototype mode and make sure that a few of these items we want to stay fixed. So I'm just going to select like most of these items. The only thing that I really want to be scrolling are the scents. So I'm going to select all of these. I think that's it. And we'll say fixed position when scrolling. So just this little check mark, and it's under prototype mode. Okay, so let's preview it now. I need to do the background also. Oh, it's locked. Check that. Fix position when scrolling. So that looks a little better. The only thing is that this looks a little silly since these are kind of running into each other. So a quick fix that I usually do with that is just I'll go back over into the design tab and just add a little gradient behind a few of those items. So I'll just make it a linear gradient and it will be white. And I need to, let me name this gradient. And then I just need to bring the rest of these items to the front. So bring to front. And then we can put this right here, just so it's covering these when they scroll through. So let's preview that. We need to bring the scents more to the back, I believe. Oh, and this needs to be fixed. So now it should work. Okay, that looks better. Maybe I'll bring the gradient down just a tiny bit. Let's see. Bring this down. That should be better. So then we can see the text. There's a little bit more contrast there. So let's go ahead and preview that. Perfect. Okay, that looks great. And now when we click or hover on any of these, you need to add the interaction for clicking, but you know, you can go through, these are all of our components. So again, if we wanted to reuse any of these, like let's say, I'll just copy and paste this really quick. Let's say we're on the next step and I want to add another scent. Let's do lavender. Let's say like we're on step 3. Which is confirm your order. Confirm. So this, like I mentioned before, this is an instance. So let's say if I go into the master over here and I start typing something else, like, oh, this was actually a citrus. Now all of the instances of that same component on this page are updated. Same with this one. So you can imagine if you have like 20, 30 different artboards and you need to update a ton of different components, that would take forever. So this makes things a lot faster. Okay, so that is a bit about components. I have been bad about checking the chat today. Did you guys have any questions? I don't see any right away, but let me know. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and Command S to save. If you want to, you can go up here to the play button and you can record. I usually like to do this. So just record me like scrolling through, clicking through something. And then if you want to save it as whatever, it'll save it as an MP4. And I usually always upload that to my Behance page. So let's go over to Behance. See what we got over there. Got a new project already up. So let's open that up, edit. And I'll go ahead and I'll just export the PNG for now. Export selected. We'll call this just day 1. PNG export. And so I always usually do a title, XD Daily Creative Challenge, give a little description about what the whole project is about. And I like to add all of the challenges into one specific project. You don't have to do that. You can break them up into individual projects if you want to do that. And then I'll just drag and drop that item in here. Where did I save it? Oh, here it is. Okay. There we go. And make sure you go over into settings and add your XD Daily Creative Challenge keyword. So it's in the discoverability tab. XD Daily Challenge, sorry. All right, guys. That is about all we have left for today. Thank you guys all so much for joining. This was a fun first challenge. I will be back again tomorrow at 11:30 Pacific time, so stay tuned for that. And in about 5 minutes, we'll have Julie Sandusky again doing our 2-hour live stream. So thanks guys for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!